Ultimate resource is resourcefulness.
Not everyone can be a great entrepreneur, but a great entrepreneur can come from anywhere.
Say, I like myself. Yeah. Now, so when you say this to yourself throughout the day, every time you say it, you smile, and it makes you happy. And when you feel happy, you treat other people better, and you're more happy, and you're more successful. So I began studying the subject, and what I found is that the other side of self-esteem is a feeling of personal power. When you feel powerful, when you feel confident, when you feel that you can set and achieve your goals, when you feel that you can be successful, then your self-esteem goes up, and your self-image improves, and you feel happy about yourself. And so this feeling of personal power comes from the things you do and the way you do it.
Emptying out the negative. It's easy to go through life holding on to things that are weighing us down. Guilt, resentment, doubt, worry. The problem is when we allow these things in, they're taking up space for the good things that should be there. Imagine your life is like a container. You were created to be filled with joy, peace, confidence, creativity. But if you allow worry in, it pushes out the peace. There's not space for both. You can't go above 100%. You have a limited amount of room. If you allow guilt to take up space, that's space that you don't have for the confidence you need. And the reason some people don't enjoy their lives is because their container, their heart is contaminated with so many things.
Fast ready for winter because it's coming. And if you have got challenges now, but if you do well in winter, you'll dominate for the rest of the time. And I'm right. So Mark talks about that story a lot, but overcoming fear. Because whatever you're afraid of, it's never as much as you're afraid of, right? It's how many things you've been afraid of that never happen, right? And then the things you are afraid of, if they do happen, you just deal with them. It's that old phrase, coward dies 1,000 deaths, a courageous man only once. I discipline myself, not perfectly, but for the most part. I don't worry about shit till it happens. I anticipate it, but I don't worry about it.
If state is everything, I assume that means state of mind. How do you stay in a great state of mind 24/7? Should that even be your goal?
I think it's worthwhile to have as a goal. I don't think it's realistic 24/7, whatever, having any dwarfs, because we all have a 2-million-year-old brain. Everybody in this room has that, I do too, and it's not designed to make you happy. It's designed to make you survive. So if I said to all of you right now, what does that brain look for? It looks for what can hurt you, and it exaggerates it. And since there's no saber-toothed tiger now, it says, what are people thinking of me? Will my business make it? Do I have enough money? And these are all easy things to solve, but our reactions in our gut, when we let the fear part of our mind take over, that basically if the survival software, if it runs you, you're in trouble. So a few years ago, I actually lecture on this now. I say, you need 2 skills to have the quality of life you want. If you want an extraordinary life on your terms, whatever your terms are, you need to master the skill of the science of achievement. You got to figure out, how do I take what I dream about and make it real? And it's a science. And you can model other people, and you can learn, you can speed up. I've spent my lifetime doing that. But the second skill, and the one that most people don't give enough value to culturally, is more important. And that is, you need to alter, if you want an extraordinary life, how many people do you know that have achieved it? How many have done this? Who's achieved a goal that was a big goal? You worked your ass off and you achieved it, and then your brain went, is this all there is? Who's had one of these moments? Yeah, almost everybody. And that's worse than failing, because we're all achievers in this room, right? So if you fail, what are you going to do? You get back up, you try another approach, you're going to eventually succeed. You know it in your gut if you're really driven. But if you succeed and you're miserable, now you're what I call technically screwed, right? Because if you're not happy with what you got, failing, you get up and do something new, but succeeding, where do you go?
For example, writing a book may seem like a monumental task. However, what if you committed to writing just 1 page a day? By the end of the year, you'd have written a book that's 365 pages long. So by committing to making small progress each day, you will have turned what otherwise may seem like an insurmountable challenge into something you can accomplish in a year's time. Or let's say you want to start reading more. Simply commit to reading 2 pages a day, and by the end of the year, you'll have read over 700 pages. Now that's 2 or 3 books you otherwise wouldn't have read or learned from. Or you could commit to reading 20 minutes a day. You can always find 20 minutes a day. Now, if you read for 20 minutes a day, by the end of the year, that adds up to 7,300 minutes, or 120 hours, or 3 40-hour work weeks. That would add up to about 25 books read every year.
And my father taught me leadership at a very young age. He actually did something that I look back on and I'm so grateful for. He used to leave these little notes throughout the house. I would go and open up a cabinet, or I'd open up the refrigerator to get a glass of milk, and there'd be this ripped up note with a quote from Gerard Adams or Marcus Aurelius, a leader. And back then I used to laugh about it. And now I look back and I understand that he was subconsciously trying to build me into a leader myself. And my mother, I saw her work 7 days a week, tirelessly. She worked at a local supermarket. It was actually my first job. And I think that was when I really kicked into for me that I wanted to be so successful because I wanted to give back. I didn't want to see my parents work so hard. But because they worked so hard, that work ethic really was ingrained in me, that hustle. Now, as I was getting a little older, of course, my parents told me that in order for me to become successful, I had to go to college, that was the way, that was the path. And like many of all of us millennials, we listened to our family and we went to school. Well, for me, within my first semester, I really felt that school wasn't for me. I felt that it was a big business and telling me what class to take to learn what I wanted to learn, and I am pro-education. But for me, it just didn't feel right. My intuition was telling me that I needed to get out into the real world. I needed to learn from experience. I needed to take action if I wanted to be, if I wanted to be really successful. I wanted that extraordinary success. I needed to take a chance of risk. And back then, it was looked upon as exactly what people thought of me when I was younger. A failure, a dropout. Oh, he's the example. He's never gonna make it. And I think this was the first moment in my life that I really had to face fear and adversity, because it was the fear of disappointment from my family. Was I going to be that failure by dropping out? I'll never forget my father telling me, "You're on your own. If this is a decision you make, you live with it. If you get down, you gotta get yourself back up and figure it out." And that built a fire inside of me.